Very soon. Okay, fantastic. Look, the next guest is a little bit of a rock star in procurement. He's built his own company. He's going to tell you much more. He presents now and again. He's been on various news channels as well about what he's created. He's been very successful in going through various rounds of funding as well. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to Yan-Min Sim.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Okay. All right. Thank you very much sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, just too used to this during the last 2 years and working from home. Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Yan-Min Sim. I'm the CEO and co-founder for Sausage. I have to pronounce this very carefully because people might mistaken this as a F&B company. So for me, I think we started in 2015 with a single idea, which is how can we use technology? And there was a lot of debate earlier in how do we use digital technology to streamline procurement, to make things more efficient, but also considering the ESG component. And of course, fast forward to today, I would say that in the entire procure tech industry, there are tons of technology providers out there providing a lot of value proposition, which I'm pretty sure, at least once in your career, you might have touched on many of these software providers. And we hope, of course, one day, Sausage will also appear in one of those logos in the top 100, procure tech industry in the world. And for us, the key question then is, given that there are so many technology providers out there, how many has been focusing on this one little area in procurement, which I'm pretty sure in today's context is often neglected, because long tail spend is one of those areas where, typically people will find that, oh, this is actually, low end, long tail, small value purchases. People will often neglect it because, maybe it doesn't deliver as much value as if I were to negotiate on larger contracts and, perhaps get more cost savings. But it boils down to ultimately, time. If we stop for a minute and think through, if long tail spend is taking up only 20% of the spend value, but, taking up 80% of our time, and maybe not your time, maybe not your colleagues' time, but certainly someone in the organization must bear that administrative burden of managing the catalogs, the price accuracy, onboarding the suppliers, processing the invoices, and making payments. So as there are more and more of such purchases in your organization, within your company itself, then the question is, it will, of course, create a lot of uncertainty, unhappiness within the organization, and no company wants unhappy staff who is doing most part of the manual work. And for us, the key question for any technology provider is to question, the industry, to question the status quo as to what would your life look like if all these are gone? What would your life be if we have a solution that combines everything that we see in the previous slide to solve, this problem that is often neglected? And I would say that because this problem has existed in the industry for many, many years, this is not something very new to, I think, many of you who are here in the industry, experienced individual and procurement leaders and professionals. There are at least 3 ways that I guess the industry has been trying to solve this problem in a separate fashion, right, or standalone fashion. Firstly, the software angle, right, where there are tons of software providers providing, which I'll later explain, of course, providing features, where they can have spot buy functionalities. There's the software portion of that, service portion of that, where service providers would provide a one-stop shop to deal with all your consolidated buying, but maybe in a more manual fashion. And lastly, from a catalog perspective, and these are usually what we call the B2B marketplaces, which is the increasing trend right now in the industry. Now, for software space, I'd like to highlight that, of course, in today's context, and in every procurement conferences, there are perhaps, most of the logos you see over here are probably the technology providers. One must, of course, consider that, okay, does this software, if I'm trying to solve the long tail spend problem, does all the vendors actually have punch out or punch in capabilities? Even if they do have, do we actually want to take the risk to do punch out for every single vendors that we have? Probably not. The second one, of course, is how configurable and customizable are these software? Because every single organization have different processes. Right, their DOA, their number of approvals might be very different. Some people may classify 10,000 as long tail, or under 10,000, sorry. Some may classify as under 1,500. And different regions might have different processors, right? So how configurable are these softwares? And of course, for bigger players, maybe they will tell you, okay, this is something off the shelf. We can't really customize for your needs. And therefore, this problem will get neglected. And the third one, of course, very importantly, is how do we then capture the spend data across different platforms that your employee might be spending on, and also across the different regions, because different regions have different languages as well. So how do we actually digest the data among the different platforms and create a consolidated reporting structure? On the service side, of course, you would think of a lot of distributors out there that you appoint in different regions. You think about purchasing cards, right? Perhaps this is also one of the way you can deal with long tail. I heard many companies using purchasing card, but problem really is if you are using purchasing card on platforms like Shopee, does Shopee really provide you with tax invoice? And that's another problem because they don't provide for every single vendors and they are not the counterparty in most cases. What is the mode of payment and collections? Right? Can you actually bill in local currency, by your distributors who is handling your long tail spend? And lastly, of course, do they provide a managed service to onboard, your approved vendors? Even if you're able to do that for, marketplaces, how safe is your data and how secure is your data? Do they actually, then provide those negotiated rates to your competitors? And last but not least, this is, of course, the exciting area right now in the tech industry, the marketplaces. I mean, B2C, people will say that, okay, this has already passed, now people are moving to B2B, and later there will be a slide to show. In the last 2 years, of course, many of the firms, VC firms have, really invested tons of money into B2B marketplaces in Southeast Asia and the Asia Pacific region. But one of the key considerations for using marketplaces is, of course, the coverage. Do you have a dominant player across APAC? Because you don't want to be doing multiple integration for different countries. How much of the catalog do they have? How many categories do they cover? Do they actually, as mentioned earlier, host the AVL's products, and how safe and secure is that? And last but not least, are they able to comply, with your internal processes? And that means, not just the payment term, but also issuance of tax invoice and other methods like punch-out capability, or even, providing the DOH functionality within the platform itself. And what we have discovered over the last 2.5 years, and perhaps an important revelation for us, when we were sort of pivoting our business, which we started in 2015, was that, service and software spaces have dominant players, and you probably can name some of them here, and they're probably having booths outside. The catalog is a very interesting segment because, it's one of the fastest growing segment among all these three that has really fragmented players in the region. So if you were to name one single marketplace, B2B marketplace, with presence in 14 different markets across APAC, probably that would be difficult, right? You don't have a JD.com in China with local presence, for instance, in Singapore, right? You would think of Shopee, Lazada, or even Amazon. And then in Japan, probably it would be Monotaro. In India, you would probably think of Flipkart, Amazon India, for instance. So you can't really name one. And that's really the issue right now that I think the market is facing, right? If we were to choose a B2B marketplaces, it's neither here nor there, right? And what we'll say that is not the greatest problem of all, right? There also seems to be a great disconnect between the marketplace technology sector versus, of course, the procurement sector, because a lot of investments has gone into such innovations, but these innovations for marketplaces are not really geared towards solving the long tail spend issue for large companies, right? If you look into the business model and financials for many of these companies, they are more geared towards getting the revenues from SMEs and consumers. The reason is because, of course, I'm also in the startup space. VCs will be, forcing the companies to produce more and more results in the shortest possible time. And of course, if you think about sales cycle, large corporate companies have a longer sales cycle as compared to, B2C e-commerce platform. So many of these companies, of course, within a short period of time, when they have to showcase result, they will naturally target and gear towards solving the problem for SMEs. And naturally, of course, what we have realized is that the long tail spend issue for many of the large corporates or global corporates never really get addressed. But the real question is this, right? Since there are a lot of innovations and money going into this sector, how do we then tap on the collective strengths of all these different platforms that have invested tons of money in getting all the suppliers in different regions on board, curating the catalogs, and tapping on their strengths so that it can be used to solve the long tail spend problem for large corporates. And so what we have realized across the last 2.5 years was that instead of viewing the solution as 3 separate solutions to solve one single problem on long tail, why not let's look at it as one single solution provider that covers 3 different areas, from the catalog side to the software side, and lastly to the service. But in that sense, we are calling it the Expedia for procurement. And today, Sausage is going to reinvent procurement for long tail spend. And this is how it looks like. Okay, not too complicated. So on the left-hand side, on the catalog space, you have the ability to aggregate catalogs across the different marketplaces, right? Of course, there are B2C, B2B ones, depending on your needs. You can filter out those categories that you do not need. On the bottom left-hand half, you can see that you can actually have a closed-loop environment to onboard your approved vendors' catalogs. So instead of you having to curate your own catalogs in your own procurement system, now you have actually a managed service provider or aggregator like Sausage to manage that for you. So if there are any price changes in your existing approved vendor list, you could easily get notified as well. And last but not least, of course, having the punch out and punch in capability to your procurement software, or those that are white labeled by Sausage, because we do have the end-to-end capability. And finally, positioning Sausage or aggregator as a one billing party, which means that the PO gets issued to us in different regions. We settle the thousands of supplier payments instead of your accounts payable team doing that, right? Which is going to be a hassle. And that actually is a full end-to-end solution that covers 3 areas by one solution provider, which we call it the aggregator model. So in summary, the 4 value propositions that aggregator model can bring to the table, which is the whole thesis of this presentation, is as such. The first one will be a one approved vendor model to consolidate all your buying, billings, logistics, exception case handling. The second one, of course, is your payment term, right? I mean, there are some marketplaces, like JD will say, okay, we give you maximum 7 days, but my organization, for instance, with like DHL, 60 days. The third one, of course, is visibility and compliance, right? For reporting structure-wise, you can't expect a same, reporting format for each of the marketplaces. So you have an aggregator to aggregate all the different spend data with one consistent reporting structure that can be easily ingested by your procurement software or ERP if you're using one. And last but not least, which is the most important, instead of spending time and money within the engineering team of your organization, you now can just do it once with one single API connection to multiple catalogs in the region, right? And of course, you do not then have to maintain all these catalogs, but you have just one single counterparty to do it for you. And the end result on the right-hand side, of course, is 2 things, right? First, manpower savings, because you are taking away thousands of invoices to process, thousands of purchase requests to purchase, and ultimately you can potentially translate that into cost savings, not just from a manpower saving portion, but with more sourcing channels, you can actually compare the prices across the marketplaces and across the AVL. So in case one marketplace is out of stock, you can actually have other marketplaces to choose from as well. Now, what I've just discussed is not theoretical in nature, right? For the longest time, procurement software has been trying to work with marketplaces, right? In the US, we were contacted by companies like SAP Ariba, where they have partnered with, of course, Amazon B2B, and there's press release on that. But in Asia Pacific, there's no equivalent of Amazon B2B, except for probably Japan and India. So for the rest of the portion, this is where we have pilot, with some of the companies over the last 2 years, and we are proud to say that we have collectively achieved consistent results in time savings by getting all those different low-tail or long-tail POs into our portal, processing them end-to-end, and of course, generating cost savings as a result of manpower time and also product pricing as well. And of course, in terms of the product and service catalogs that we can actually handle, we have done lots of things from office supplies to IT accessories, sustainable, eco-friendly products, PP equipment during the last 2 years, that's the highest spend, MRO parts, and last but not least, services, which you don't usually find in marketplaces, right? But we do have the ability to have scheduled rates for preventive, reactive maintenance, or even marketing and HR services. And one last thing. Of course, founded since 2015, Singapore, although we are headquartered over here at Sausage headquarters, We do have entities in other parts of Asia Pacific. So my colleague here with me, Terrence, is from Malaysia. We do have our counterpart in Indonesia, Vietnam, India, China, Japan, and United States, and the rest of the region, which you can find in our brochures outside. Yeah, so if you have any of the requirements, thinking about how do I actually pilot test in any of the region, may not be Singapore even, you can contact us, you can contact one of our team, which we can actually roll out the solution pretty quickly, even within a month or within the next 3 months, depending on your due diligence process. And that's all on my side. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for German? Question at the front. What's after this then?
10-minute coffee break. And then we'll have this. So I'll take
Hey, hi. This is definitely an interesting model. Right. So, do you enrich the data from the merchant? What I mean by enrich is just like you mentioned P-card, right? So P-card, the banks do provide the merchant code, so you can restrict the buyers from buying certain categories. So for your case, right, do you enrich the data from your merchant as part of the process so that we can have more data to analyze as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the answer is yes. Sausage does have the ability to allow each of our clients to filter out the list. So for instance, if some of our clients do not want the IT categories or IT accessory categories, that can be removed. If you want to remove anything more than $5,000 per unit cost, that can be removed as well. Even in the shopping cart, if you want to restrict the amount like less than 10K, that can be done as well. And of course, we have a functionality called blacklist, where you can actually blacklist certain brands that you do not want to buy from. I mean, some companies do not want to buy too branded stuff for employees, and that is absolutely fine for us. Yep. Thank you. I think that's
Question is, currently our source-to-pay system is fully automated, right? The processes are all in there. Now, your presentation is interesting, but what I'm trying to understand is that does it, number one, right, you talk about integrating into our procurement system, and that's possible, but how does that support the current approval hierarchy workflow that we've already set up, as well as the way in which our invoices currently, it's like going through our own, our GL taxonomy, that sort of thing, because that kind of like flows through from the procurement taxonomy right through to our general ledger. So how does your solution kind of like get integrated or support our current processes? Does it work that way?
Yeah, I'll answer the second part. So currently we're using machine learning to do mapping because every single company have different ways to label those data points. So it can be UNSPSC. Some people use custom code. So Sausage does have the ability today to take in the raw data or the file that you have in terms of how you label, whether by cost center, GL code, towards the product that we have from the marketplaces. But of course, if you were to go to a marketplace, for instance, it might be difficult for them to change because fundamentally marketplaces already have their own taxonomy, or maybe it's labeled directly by their own vendors, right? Because it's very self-serve on B2C side. So on our side, we function as the adapter, to use technology to automate that mapping portion to whether the GL code, the UNSPSC, or other custom code that you have. So that actually will allow a lot of efficiency instead of having your team to label one by one. Yeah. Sorry, your first question?
I think my first question is the approval change.
Yeah. So in terms of approval change, we have done a lot of integration, not just for standardized ERP solution. So in the typical CXML or OCI kind of integration technique, the approval, once they have raised the shopping cart within our punch-out catalog itself, it will go directly into the procurement system that you have. So the approval actually will be done on your system. The PO gets issued. In very rare cases, of course, we do have companies coming to us to do the entire approval on our system. And that is also fine because we do have the end-to-end suite of functionality. So it's really like a Lego brick where you can actually piece together the different ways of actually, using our platform or punch-out catalog in that sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to stop there. I know there are more questions, but we need to move on. And I'm sure if you've got extra questions for Yanmin and Source Sage, I'm careful how I say it, you can catch him later. So many thanks, Yanmin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Okay, we're going to have a short coffee break. We're going to cut it into just a 10-minute coffee break.